Welcome to DES Trucks. In today's video, I got a question for you guys. Is this truck too nice for doing real work to the highest level for us? We're plowing snow with this truck. We've got our snow plow mount on here, and we're spreading salt as well with the truck. And if you know anything about life in the north, then you know that the salt is just the worst thing ever for your truck. Now, don't get me wrong, we do take preventative measures. It's hard to see right now because it's dark, but there's a big rubber flap on here that covers up the rear end of the truck so that the salt doesn't just soak into the truck so bad. But nonetheless, the vehicle is driving in salt, and these tires are kicking it up, and it's getting thrown underneath that truck. Maybe the spreader is protected from the spreader a little bit, but that salt's getting thrown under this truck, and it really does attack these trucks. So the question I have for you guys is this thing too nice of a truck to be just killing it, like totally abusing it? It's gonna get dinged up, it's gonna get dented. The other day, out working salting salt in a parking lot, and this truck literally got smoked by some branches hanging low, just hit the roof. Just the sound of just nails on chalkboard hitting your truck, your $100,000 truck. Now, this truck's not really 100 grand, but it definitely carries the persona that it's 100 grand. It's an $86,000 truck. Don't get me wrong, it's a lot of money, but these 450s can be had for cheaper. I looked at two when I got this one. The other one was 75,000, and it was still a 450, but it was an XLT. Still a high output diesel and everything. Real nice truck. Still had a lot of the creature comforts. It for 75,000. This XLT that I was looking at had freaking twin panel moonroof, high output, heated seats, power everything. It just had a cloth interior, and then the smaller screen inside of the truck, like how these older models had the smaller screen versus a big screen. And freaking sweet truck for 75,000, not bad at all. So the 450s, they can be $100,000 trucks, but they're not always the case. Well, for me, I custom build them, and I take a lot of stuff that I don't really think I'll like or need, and I take it off. Now, if it's something that I like, maybe I don't need it, but I like it, I'll keep it. Like the twin panel, I like it. I like having that. Don't need it, but I added it to this truck. But I could have took, I think, 2 grand off or something by not having that. So these trucks, I mean, you can have the same truck and take another 2,000 off or whatever it costs for a twin panel moonroof, and then some of the other things, just that's probably the most unnecessary thing that I have on here would be the twin panel moonroof. That's probably the most unnecessary thing that I added to this truck. But offhand, aside from this truck being a lariat trim, I can't think of whatever else. Mostly everything else I deleted off of the build. All the automatic cruise control systems where there's sensors in the front, and it can like detect space. One of the things I took off of here that I actually should have kept on was the Pro Trailer backup. Take that off and you lose a ton of the power steering features on the truck. But these trucks, when I took the Pro Trailer backup off, these trucks shipped out fast, and a lot of people are wondering, like, they didn't get their orders. I can tell you what, I got 2 orders in for 450s. I know guys that have been waiting years and years for these. I got 2 of them in, and I took that Pro Trailer stuff off, so maybe that had something to do with it. I still have some cool features, but that Pro Trailer stuff that I took off, it deleted a big component on the steering, which makes the steering a bit heavier. I'm getting used to it, but it makes the steering a bit heavier, and I get my trucks delivered, whether it's a 450 or any type of Super Duty. My trucks are being delivered, and a lot of other guys didn't get them. So as far as this truck, what can I say about it, being a bit more expensive. Nobody in the area has anything like this out on the road plowing snow. Not the biggest, none of them. The biggest, strongest companies out there, none of them are out here. I mean, most guys, you look at the bottom line, most guys are just going to run something like this, and this is actually a lot too, to be honest. It's a nice 22 F350. It's a lot of money to put out there to plow snow as well. And again, it's got some cool features on it. Could very well be a daily truck, but it's not like this. This is a freaking diesel, Lariat, all that cool stuff. So out working it for the first time, really a full 10-11 hour shift in the truck working it, salting properties. I can tell you that this is the most comfortable truck I've ever had. The seats for 23. If you're on the fence on a 22 versus a 23, keep in mind you're gonna get some more emissions on your 23. The engine's gonna be a little bit quieter. You might get more power with the high output, but I feel that you don't really notice that power because the emissions. I feel the power is the same going from the 1050 to the 1200, at least in the 450s. Maybe it's a different case for the 250, 350s, but the gearing and everything with the 450s, honestly, you got a 22 450 and you want to go to a 23 or 24, the power is not a good reason to do it. But the interior seats is much better in 23. I don't know why. And then the truck's locked. Hold on one second. Door's open now. I got the key. But I don't know what it is about this interior in these seats, but long road trips, and 10-hour shifts working in this truck, these seats are the best seats that I had in a Ford, and I had quite a few Fords. They are the best. I had an F-150 with the 18 with that outgoing interior. I had the 450 and the XL trucks, XLTs, you name it. I had them all. What I can say is the leather on the 20 and the 150s and the Super Duties, the leather, the seats, the way they feel after a long time of sitting, it wasn't the best. It wasn't terrible, but for some reason, I don't know. For my weight, bottom side, whatever you want to call it, they were not as good for a long drive. And this isn't platinum or anything. This is just a Lariat trim levels I'm talking about. Those seats, the bottom cushion was different, I think. These seats, they look a little different cut pattern and all that. But I can sit in this seat for so long and feel so much better. The heated seat function really is helping my lower back. It's more targeted. It seemed like right on my lower back, and my back's been hurting the last couple days. So I'm like, man, I'm glad I got this one because it's really helping. And yeah, this seat, and this is not your fancy seat where it has all the maxed out reclining and all that good stuff. Without max recline, the seat will literally, I have number 3 set back to rest mode when I need some rest. This seat will slam back far enough for me to get my rest that I want to get. That's it. And I think maybe there's something back here stopping me. No, there's nothing back there. I think, is that all of it that it can go? No, it goes further than that. I thought it did. So if I recline this thing all the way, I don't need more than that. So I did not get the max recline. I think with the max recline, you get the seat that pops up a little bit to make it flatter. I don't need that. Like, I don't see, it's cool and all, but if I'm sitting down, I'm a little bit caked up back there anyway. I don't need the seat to pop up to make it flat. I lay in this thing, it's perfect. I don't have a max recline seat, and this is perfect. I can rest better in this. So I will say, I didn't know how the seats were going to be, but they are better in this truck compared to the one that I had before. I can be in this thing longer. I can sit in this thing longer, and while the engine seems like the power and stuff is the same, you hear less grunt from the engine. So I actually liked. If I had to pick just drivetrain alone, it's real close on that, but I would go 2020 lower emissions would be a little nicer of a drivetrain, a little bit, not by much, but you hear the motor a little more. You smell the diesel fumes a little bit more. It's almost like this new emissions is so much more filtered that you don't even get a whiff of diesel, really. It's freaking a clean running truck. Now, we all talk about, we hate the emissions, but this thing, if you're a person that wants less fumes and wants it to be, a cleaner truck for you to breathe, I feel that this might be an option for that individual, because a deleted truck is better for the truck 100%. It's better for the truck, no doubt. I could run this motor in this shop with the door closed right now, and you're not gonna smell a thing. You're not gonna smell nothing. It's not. You run a deleted truck, you're gonna burn I do, at least. I feel breathing that exhaust. I feel a little irritation maybe from a deleted truck if I'm in a closed environment. So it's kind of give or take. I mean, even though this truck is not deleted, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I bring it in here. I don't keep this shop heated warm when I'm not here, but my heater can't bring this temperature up that fast. So when the truck's hot, I pull up in here and I leave the truck running for a second. I got carbon monoxide detectors and stuff. So don't try this at home, but I run the motor in here. It's kind of like a torpedo heater, and they tell you right here on the torpedo heater, don't run it in a closed environment, they say, because the exhaust fumes can knock you out. So they tell you a specification on how much makeup air they want you to have coming into the space when you're running one of these. And the same thing with running a diesel engine. You're not supposed to run it in no closed environment. But if it's real cold in here, I'll run it for a second. And, like I say, there's detectors and stuff in here to, I don't know, go off. They work, I think. I don't know. This one might need some attention, but they do work. They're brand new, and it brings the temperature up instead of me burning. It burns cleaner. This truck puts out probably more BTUs in this heater, between the HVAC running, the heat running on the HVAC, the exhaust, and the radiator fan. I wouldn't be surprised if it put out more heat than this heater. But this thing can choke me up a little, the way it smells, even though it runs kerosene, versus this truck, which can bring the temperature up a few degrees quicker with it running in here for a minute. And it's just cleaner. If the truck was deleted, I wouldn't do that. Gross. So, very interesting. The new emissions, I guess we'll see what happens. There's a chance of it making some more issues, but maybe not. Maybe it's just going to be fine. So the regens and all that have been cool, not a problem. It's a good system. It's more filtered, it's more quiet, and it's probably taking more power because they're putting more stuff on the exhaust, and it's probably slowing down your turbo spool or whatever. So it is what it is, I guess. I don't want no more of it, but sometimes there's pros a little bit to some of the stuff. I mean, if the truck was deleted, I definitely wouldn't be doing that. But all in all, though, working in it, the times that I have been real nice. It's definitely seemed to be worth it. One of the cons is it's such a sweet truck that, you pull up, especially right now with the economy being a little bit bad, you pull up and it can make some people salty. It can make a client salty. You pull up in $100,000 truck and they're like, oh, it can hurt your sales. You trying to sell something expensive, and you want to pull up in a beater. You pull up in a beater, and they feel like, oh man, this young man he may need some help a little. Maybe we should pay him. It's such an extreme truck that like you're trying to sell a freaking $10,000 fence. It depends on the clientele, but they might be like, he don't need our help. He don't need our business. Let's see. I don't know. Maybe this is the truck looks expensive. I've had someone even last week come up to me and say, "How much was that diesel? 100,000." Just randomly come up to me. So people have the persona that you're just driving this $100,000 truck, but they not wrong. It ain't that far off, from 100,000. I would drive $100,000 truck, but I just feel that a lot of that stuff to get it to that price, those items are just not necessary items in my opinion. So I take that stuff off. I don't feel it's helping the product to have a radar detector in the front. Although the cruise control is nice, it just would interfere with all the stuff that gets mounted on the truck, I feel. So the truck's been worth it the last, couple times. What I plan on doing is really pushing the limits here. I'm going to do some towing videos here. Now that we have this machine here for the winter, I can tow the machine to do a video, and it's freaking heavy. And I can compare the two, the 7.3 versus the 6.7. They're both geared the same, but, different suspension and stuff on the 7.3. And, it'd be cool to see this truck freaking towing the max. And when it comes to the winter, I can put the plow on this thing. It's loaded with salt, and now it's going to be weighing, max gross vehicle weight rating right there at that limit. And we're going to see what this thing can do. We're going to tow a freaking heavy 16,000 pound trailer while the truck's loaded, while it's got a plow on it, and we're going to push it. We're going to push the limits, and we'll see what happens. It really should get airbags in order to be doing what I'm doing. But, when the money's right, I'll get them. But, yeah, the 350 7.3 is going to be pushing it too. And the 350 7.3 can do pretty close to what the 6.7. But we're going to really – the thing about the 450 is I can put 2,000 pounds of salt in the back, 1,000 pounds of plow on the front, and then hook up to that dump trailer, kind of pushing it. But then again, still, I don't know if you could even do that with this. I mean, you probably can do it with this and this pushing it. But with this, 15,000 pounds, the tongue weighs so high. What would happen? Like, this thing would be on the ground. So 2 yards of salt in this thing is enough. 2 yards of salt in this, it's not straining. It's not too much. But you throw that freaking trailer on there too, I don't know what's going to happen. So stay tuned to the channel to see. But all in all, I'm happy with it. The purchase. I did go with the Lariat when I could have got a cheaper, lower payment. It was significantly lower payment with the one for $75,000. You're talking $11,000 difference on the truck. But at the end of the day, the resale on this Lariat is going to be pretty good. It'd be good either way because they were both 450s, but the Lariat's going to be really good. And what I've found is, let's say for some reason you got to get out of, I got to get out of the 450. Even though it's been plowed with and salted and all that, they don't care. Like they want this truck value on a 450 gets so much better resale that it don't matter that you plowed with it. Like any other truck, they're like, did you plow, snow, what'd you do? But the 450 is just, you take the plowing stuff off of it. And yeah, they know it's for plowing and they just still buy it. The other guy who bought mine, he knew it was used for plowing. For 2 years, I plowed snow with that 20. And he still was like, he paid me MSRP for a truck that was plowed with, wrecked, frame replaced, all of that. And still bought it at MSRP. So, hey, MSRP in the truck was used. So the 450s, a lot of people are going to say, how could you or what? But for me, having a truck always ready to work, like me. I'm always ready to work. The resale's right on it. And there's guys driving $100,000 250s. This is not a $100,000 truck. But at the end of the day, the main selling feature, before I wrap up this video, the main selling feature for me was the freaking keyless entry. That was it. That did it. Like, I can do without the heated seat or the cooled seats, because the XLT actually had heated as well. I can do without that. The XLT that I looked at had the center console and all that. It was a nice truck. Selling feature for me, I love not putting my key in the ignition. Just do that, lock the truck. If the XLT would have had that feature, I would have ended up with the XLT all day. But anyway, guys, my name is Sean. This is DS Trucks. See you in the next video. Over and out.